What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Process Sports Radio. Once again, we have more than sports ball rides in the building. Today, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff, NFL talk, some big news out of the NBA lately, and some whatever other stuff we might come up and think about. But first of all, before we get into it, make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. And if you know the drill, follow us on all our social media platforms. Plus, subscribe to all of our audio formats, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But Ball Roger, man, let's go right into it. Let's talk about the NBA, the most pressing issue right now in the NBA. So it came out today that Russell Westbrook wants out of Houston. What are your immediate thoughts about that?
Well, I think he was tired of James Harden's ISO ball at the left corner, and just they had to revamp the entire offense because they couldn't play with the center because Russell isn't a shooter. As we saw the Lakers leave him wide open during the playoffs. So I think he just realized D'Antoni's gone. Their one hell of a GM is gone as well.
Daryl Morey.
Yeah, and the rumors is that he wants to go to either, what was it, the Lakers, what was the other teams you were in the listing?
The Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, or the Atlanta Hawks.
I have my personal favorites for him to go is either the Bucks. Bucks could really use Russell Westbrook. Him and Giannis as a tandem is like the biggest dogs you'll probably ever meet in the NBA. If people
The biggest non-shooting dogs you'll ever meet too.
Yeah, and then as much as I hate the Clippers, it makes perfect sense because the Clippers lack that leadership, and I guess they'll just have another dog, and I guess he'll just beef people up. I guess like, hey, Kawhi, don't be doing this.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my thought on it so far.
I mean, for me personally, I do think that the Clippers would work, or he's not going to the Lakers. Like I don't see the Lakers happening whatsoever. Just because the cap, they don't need him, nor do they have the cap space or the assets required to get him, right? For me though, like I think like Milwaukee, I kind of think like him on a team like the Knicks, right? Because like if you think about it, right, at the end of the day, it looks like Houston's kind of blowing itself up now. They're kind of done. I think ship Westbrook to New York. He can be the big star in New York and stuff like that. Kind of revive that franchise. They are the Knicks, right? Maybe he could be an attraction to some free agents to come and play for them, right? I would say the Knicks for Russell, but like I said, I don't think him on the Clippers would work whatsoever because there's one ball. And you saw the PG and Russ experiment before. It didn't work out before. Now you're saying it's going to work out because Kawhi's there, who's another ball-dominant guy, right? So I don't think any Los Angeles team is going to work for him. Milwaukee, yes. But then again, both guys can't shoot the ball. And what happens in the playoffs? You need guys that can shoot the ball, right? Spacing. Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely think that it's going to be interesting to see what teams are interested in Russell Westbrook because, like he said, not only is he's a great player, Hall of Fame player, of course, one of the best players of our generation, right? But he has his flaws, and he also has a very big contract for the next 2 years, right? So it's going to be interesting to see who can take on that cap space and who will have the right assets to, trade for him.
Valid. I mean, the Knicks is a good place for Russell to go just because I guess the Knicks don't really attract superstars. I mean, the last superstar they had was Murray and Carmelo. That really didn't work. I feel like they always get superstars like later in their career.
At the end of their career, which, I mean, Russell Westbrook's kind of the tail end of his prime right now, right?
Yeah, and as a New York Knicks fan, are you really excited to have Russell Westbrook on your team? I mean, if you're just a casual fan, I guess, yeah, because it fills the seats.
I mean, if I'm a Knicks fan, right, I haven't had nothing to cheer about for a very long time, right? So having Russell Westbrook would be better than nothing, right? At least you have something in the building, right?
It's low-key like false hope, though. But I guess, I mean, some of us are like true diehard fans, and like New York Knicks have like probably one of the hardest dying hard fan bases.
Of course, man. Their fan base is like, I feel so bad for their fan base sometimes, man, because like if the Knicks were relevant and a good franchise, it would elevate the NBA even more because then you would have like two superpowers, like two really good teams in New York and LA, right? Going head to head. Could you imagine like a New York Knicks and an LA Lakers final? That'd be the biggest thing in sports, right? Easily. It'd be crazy, right? Just like a Dodgers Yankees World Series or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But going back to the Knicks thing, wouldn't it be kind of interesting to see like Russ, KD in New York going at it like that? That'd be pretty cool to see, right? Now I know they kind of squashed that whole beef, but I kind of like to see that rivalry go at it because Russ is going to try to make sure that the Knicks are relevant and stuff like that. I think, you know what, if he could do a solo act like that in OKC into the playoffs, I think he could potentially drag them to the playoffs in the East, possibly.
Yeah, I guess if you're a New York Knicks fan and you just want the attention, you get Russell Westbrook, and you might be able to sign somebody that's like. I mean, I feel like Russell Westbrook is like respected by many NBA players just because of the way he
100%.
plays. So I guess a lot of players might want to play with him, except for like Kevin Durant. And otherwise, I think like if I'm a diehard Knicks fan, I don't want to sign Russell Westbrook because it just fucks up what we're trying to been doing for the last 10 years. We sign these tail end career superstars, and then it just fucks us up for the next 5 years
But
going
the
forward.
real talk though, like what the Knicks have been in a like absolute dysfunctional mess for the last 20 years, bro. Like
Yeah,
they've been garbage. Like I was watching the Stephon Marbury documentary on Netflix, Kid from Coney Island,
yeah,
and just seeing how like that organization just took him and just ruined him even more. Like the
yeah,
man literally went crazy and had to go to China, bro. Like, and
yeah,
Stephon Marbury was a sick player, bro.
yeah. He was. He's the 2000s player, but
Yeah,
as you could say the same thing about Melo though. Like low key,
yeah.
they had Melo maybe in his like remember that 2013 season where they
Was it
were like
2012 or 2013 where they went against Miami in the playoffs, right?
yeah, and then 2012 I think Melo was actually the 2013 I believe he was actually a candidate
2013,
for
2012,
MVP.
one of
Yeah,
those years, yeah.
and then they lost against the Pacers in the semifinals. But yeah, that team was actually pretty good, and that was the first time I'm like, maybe the New York Knicks are going down the right path. But they signed Melo to a supermax contract, and then nobody really wanted to come over, and they signed like Gallinari and like these role type of players, and it just
Then
didn't work
then
out.
they traded, of course, they traded Porzingis.
Yeah,
Then now like KD, they every year new free agent is gonna come. We're gonna get this person, this person, this person,
yeah, it just
and
doesn't
the
work.
person never comes, right?
Yeah,
Um, Another point guard, right? I put this up in my poll today. I
yeah,
was asking people, who would you rather have as a point guard of your team? Chris Paul, because he's in trade rumors right now too, or Russell Westbrook? I think we mean you both agree it's Chris Paul you'd rather have as your point guard of your team,
yeah.
right? Like I
Easily,
think
there's
he's the point guard, right? So I mean,
yeah.
even at his advanced age, I think Chris Paul has more value than Russell Westbrook right now, even though he does make more money, right?
Yeah, honestly, I felt as if Chris Paul was just a bit taller, because Chris Paul is somewhat undersized for like he's a floor general, but
He's a
he's
floor
somewhat
general.
undersized for a point guard, in my opinion. So let's just put him at like a 6, like a Magic Johnson height. I think Chris Paul would probably be the best point guard, maybe all time, if he had that height. Again, you can't teach height, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm just saying, if he was taller, I feel like Chris Paul probably would have had a ring and. Yeah, I guess Chris Paul. I think we just transition to Chris Paul since we're already on him.
Did we get to see who's your pick for Russell Westbrook to?
I low key hope he goes to the Milwaukee Bucks just because I guess they'll have two of the best drivers to the rim in the
But
league.
if okay, let me ask you this: if Russ goes to the Bucks, right?
Yeah,
What are you having to give up? You're probably going to have to give up Middleton,
Bledsoe, Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. Not
Yeah,
Middleton. You're not going to give up Middleton.
I don't think there's no shot you give up Bledsoe and Middleton for Chris Paul. If the Bucks do that,
But then
then
why would the Rockets make that deal then? Because
you
apparently
mean
James Harden is still
Clippers?
committed to. Well,
I
no,
know the
Rockets. Yeah, yeah. I was like,
okay. See, Thunder. We're talking about Chris Paul, right?
no, talking about Russell Westbrook, bro. Talking about
Oh,
Russell
Russell
Westbrook.
Westbrook. Oh, yeah, I'm
Where do you
bugging
want
out.
him to go?
I said I wanted him to go to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Milwaukee Bucks, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. Like, if the Rockets trade for, if the Bucks trade for them, they have to give up what? Probably Middleton or Bledsoe, one of the two.
I'd rather so much rather give up Bledsoe than
Plus,
Middleton.
plus, of course you would. But then that's what I was saying. Like James Harden is still in Houston, right? He apparently
Yeah,
he's committed to Houston and he
yeah,
wants to win still.
yeah.
Why would they? You'd have to be like a star for star swap. Wouldn't it have to be one? You wouldn't want. I don't think Bledsoe
I
makes
really
the
don't
Bledsoe.
think Russell Westbrook is a superstar. I think he's a star, and there's a difference between I think those two. I mean, if I'm in Milwaukee, I'm trying to give up Bledsoe because Bledsoe really hasn't worked out
Bledsoe's yeah, of course.
really in Milwaukee, to be honest.
But Bledsoe and Russell Westbrook's talent, the disparity between them is huge, though, right? Like,
It is, but I mean, if you're telling me to choose between Bledsoe and Russell Westbrook, I mean, for me, I'd be like, I really don't want to choose. I'd rather just have either because I think they're on the same level, in my opinion. That's a big out there, but like Russ can't really shoot. I saw him in the Lakers series. The Lakers were like daring him to shoot, and he couldn't make a shot.
Okay.
Westbrook and Bledsoe's kind of been the same too, where like
Yeah.
everybody goes under his screen, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
Bledsoe, I think the definitely thing about Eric Bledsoe is this, like, he's got so much talent, but I
yeah,
think he just, for whatever reason, his game's never really improved. Like, you look at him from the Clippers to the Suns to the Bucks now. His game he has like that all-star potential, that all-star
yeah,
talent level, but he's just never taken it up to the next level, right?
yeah,
And like you said, he's floundered in Milwaukee like that because he
yeah,
just doesn't have the talent. He doesn't. I don't know what it is,
yeah,
situation wise or whatever. He's just not reaching that full capability.
yeah.
But let's go into Chris Paul then. Okay, so Chris Paul looks like he might go to Phoenix or something like that. Is Chris Paul a good fit in Phoenix? And if he goes to Phoenix, does that make them a playoff team in the West?
Well, you have to look at it this way, I think. Is there similarities between Chris Paul and Steve Nash? Do you think so?
Yeah, certain similarities. Yeah,
Well, what are the similarities that you would see between Chris Paul and
I would
Steve
say like
Nash?
their basketball IQ, the way they can see the court,
Yeah,
the way that, like we said, floor general, right? Now I do
yeah,
think Chris Paul is a little bit more of a pure scorer
yeah. I
than
would say
Steve
that too.
Nash was, but
Yeah,
Steve Nash is a better playmaker in my
yeah,
opinion. Chris Paul's a better handle, right?
yep.
So there is similarities there, but there are some differences. But yes, I would definitely say there's a lot of similarities between the two players.
Yeah, so I guess like Steve Nash came to Phoenix when he was kind of like he had injury problems from the
Yeah, but
Mavericks.
he was still in his prime though. I think Steve Nash
You
was still in
think
his
so?
prime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like Chris Paul really, yeah, he's kind of like fell off, but not that much to the point because he's a really smart player.
but
And
Chris
again,
Paul had a resurgence last year, right?
yeah,
Again,
yeah,
OKC.
but yeah. So I guess like him going to Phoenix will probably make Devin Booker like work a little bit better, harder, and then he'll like give him like his inside information of how to run a team. And then Aiton, I'm really high on him because I think he's been a monster. But I guess him in that pick and roll would be nice. And then you just got Book just being the ISO scorer that they just need, like the Kobe that it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess D'Antoni's not there. I guess that would have been cool to see D'Antoni back in Phoenix. But yeah, I'm
Monty
actually,
Williams is the coach right now,
yeah,
and
I
Chris Paul
honestly,
likes him a lot.
yeah, yeah. Monty Williams and Chris Paul go back in New Orleans, way back in the
Yeah,
day. If you
New
think about
Orleans
that,
days. Yeah,
yeah. So I think Chris Paul would be a great fit on the Phoenix Suns. Are they going to be like a threat to the top 5 teams in the West? Maybe if like Devin Booker takes the next level step, as we saw in the bubble, Devin Booker was just saucing everybody up. I remember that one shot he hit against the
the
Clippers, where
Clippers.
Kawhi and PG were just like, "Damn, this is a bad bro," and I guess it all depends on Devin Booker because Chris Paul will make them have that like leadership, make everybody better. If Devin Booker takes the next step and we see him like turn into like a James Harden maybe or even better, then I can't say, right?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but in my personal opinion, I don't think it makes, instead of them being the 10th seed, they might be the 7th seed, right? I
Yeah,
just see I see them still in around that fringe playoff team area just because of how deep the Western Conference is, right, man? So if you run up the top, of course you got the Lakers, right?
yeah.
You got the Nuggets,
Clippers,
Clippers, Utah,
Portland will maybe.
Portland.
Yeah,
Dallas is gonna get better, bro. Dallas is
yeah.
so that's what is that, 7, 8 teams right there?
Just throw Chris Paul on Dallas.
Golden State Warriors. Go up with them. They're
Yeah,
gonna be up there, right? Like so, there's 8 teams right there, bro. And then even then, you got New Orleans, right?
yeah,
Phoenix, Sacramento, right? You have all these teams in the mix where there's so many teams in the West. The West is so loaded, bro. Like, um, for example, we were talking about Russell Westbrook. If Westbrook goes to the Clippers or to a team out west, like stays out west, like you're telling me that doesn't elevate the Clippers to another level, right?
yeah.
And stuff like that.
So
Like
much star
it's
power.
so much star power. There's so many pieces in the West that make it so much more intriguing. So as great as Chris Paul is, and as great as he had a comeback season, he's the point god, right?
Yeah,
I just don't see him in Phoenix with that young team. Yes, you're absolutely right with Devin Booker. Devin Booker is, as Drake said, wet like book, dude. He fucking
yeah,
gets buckets like nobody else. Like he can give you buckets like it's nobody's business, right?
yeah.
But I just don't think that a team like Phoenix has that experience or the necessary skill level to compete with everybody in the West,
I
right?
have a question for you then.
Shoot,
Hypothetically, you're
I love hypotheticals.
so let's just say Chris Paul is on the Phoenix Suns, right?
Mm-hmm.
He took OKC to the 4th seed this year, which is just insane if you think about it.
Yeah.
Is the OKC team better than the Phoenix Suns team if Chris Paul is just in the middle and he hasn't chose a team yet? Which team is better?
put Chris Paul and the Suns are better because the Suns are Devin Booker,
Yeah.
right?
So that's what
But
I'm. Yeah.
but I think this year the whole wild card is this, man. Like you
The
have
Warriors. The
the
Warriors.
Warriors. The Warriors are the wild card of this whole thing. They're gonna mess it all up again because
Yeah.
look, they're gonna be back in the playoffs regardless, right?
Yeah.
Who's gonna come out? OKC looks like it's gonna come out,
Yeah.
right? Utah might trade Rudy Gobert, right? They
Yeah.
might lose some pieces. They might take a step back, right?
Yeah.
But then, like I said, you have young teams like Phoenix, like New Orleans, like Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
San Antonio is always kicking around somehow, some way, right? So I mean, like it's not a foregone conclusion that Chris Paul. Like I was listening to something to some people today saying that the Chris Paul is gonna make the Suns a title contender. And I was like, what?
Happens. It's the narrative, bro. Right?
It's
People
yeah.
always
I'm
talk
like,
about
how do you
stuff.
come to this narrative where
Yeah.
Chris Paul is going to take a 10th seed in the West to become a championship team? He's not LeBron James where he can take that team, drag a team that high up. And he might drag him to the playoffs, like I said, but he's not going to drag him to the finals, bro. Like
Yeah.
the West is a deep conference, man.
Like I said, I think it all depends on Book, because if Book can go up to that next level where I've been waiting for like the last 3 years to be like, remember when Devin Booker dropped that like crazy 70-point game and we're just
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
oh,
well, against
damn.
Boston, right? Yeah.
Damn, it's the second coming of Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since that, I mean, I really haven't seen him be like elite. I mean, he is elite in
He's
scoring, but
elite. He's an elite scorer, but he's not. He doesn't take that to that elite level game consistently. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Right? Like Devin Booker's got the skill set to be one of the best players in the league.
yeah,
Bar his shooting form is butter, dude. He can
yeah,
handle it. He can also take it to the rim too, right? Book's got the full offensive arsenal on him, right? He's been playing in an area in Houston where it's been so bad, right?
yeah.
And he's
I
just he doesn't get the exposure that he deserves, right?
yeah, other
But
than Drake, but yeah.
other than Drake, right? But well, that was the whole Kentucky thing, right? But
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, if Devin Booker can take that next step, right now he's young, man. He's like only 20, what, 24?
yeah.
So
I think
he
early
has
maybe, yeah.
23, 24, right? If he takes that next step and Chris Paul's there to help guide that team, I can totally see something. And if they get a couple of pieces, right? 100%, right? But here's the thing. You're not going to be better than those big dogs in the West, man. There's still those big dogs in the West are still going to be there, right?
Yeah,
Denver is going to get better. I think
yeah.
Dallas is going to get, dude, I really think Dallas is going to get better. And one thing I want to say to everybody is watch out for this. The Dallas Mavericks are going to be a sleeper team for Giannis next year, bro.
Yeah, apparently the Warriors are like preparing to sign him too, though.
Every
That'd
team's
be
preparing to sign him, but I'm saying, like, I definitely think if Giannis, Luka, and Porzingis on a team, it's a wrap, dude. It's a wrap.
the
I'm
international
sorry. I'm sorry.
squad.
I'm sorry, Laker fans everywhere. Giannis, Luka, Porzingis,
Bro,
give them
they
the
ain't even
title.
American.
Exactly. That'll be the best thing. They're not even American, but wrap up the
Yeah,
title, man. Just give it to
yeah.
Dallas, right? But yeah, man. Like I think Chris Paul. I'd like to see Chris Paul in Philadelphia
Yeah, that would. I
with
mean,
him and Embiid.
Chris Paul
You
is
could
such
put Chris
like
Paul on any
on
team,
any
and
team. Yeah,
you could put him on any team, and he'd make it work because the way he plays, right? You
yeah,
could put him on any team, and it would work, right?
yeah,
It's not like how we say like you build a system around LeBron. You
yeah,
put Chris Paul in a system, he learns the system, and he be, incorporates it into
yeah.
the
He's a
game, right?
plug and play type of guy.
Exactly, but he's like he's a quintessential point guard, bro. Like
Yeah,
he is what I think every kid who wants to be a point guard in the NBA would want to be. Yes, all the new guards are big scoring guards and they put up big
yeah,
stats, right? But if you look at the true definition of a point guard, that's Chris Paul.
yeah. Honestly, I was gonna quickly say something before we end this topic. Remember when Chauncey Billups went to the Denver Nuggets?
Yeah, like
And then in 2009, he went in '08, I believe. In 2009, they went to the Western Conference Finals, and Melo said that Chauncey was like a huge uplifting person where he taught him everything and like, yo, you need to do this, you need to do that. Low key, our boys Chris Paul could have that effect on Devin Booker because they're
he
both
could.
scorers, they're both bucket getters.
And you know what? Here's the thing: like when Chauncey Billups went to Denver, he had that championship experience in Detroit.
Yeah,
So that forced Melo to think like,
yeah,
okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, right? Like he was a Finals MVP. He's won a title. He went to another Finals with Detroit, right? They
yeah,
call him Mr. Big Shot for a reason, right?
yeah,
So I mean, that's exactly what a guy like Devin Booker can look at. He can look at Chris Paul and be like, look, this guy's Chris Paul, man. Like all NBA player, one of the best point guards ever lived. Of course, I'm going to listen to him, right? So
Yeah.
definitely, I think that that's something that can be brought into Phoenix. But like I said, it doesn't really push the needle to me, bro.
Yeah, I'm just really big Devin Booker fan. It's a biased
I can
opinion.
tell,
I
bro.
really
I
am.
mean, I'm a big Book fan too. I think Book's
Yeah.
game is pure,
Yeah.
but I think I need to see more from him. I need to see him really take a team and take it to the next level before I put him into that elite category, right?
Yeah.
Because right now he's kind of like in that, star, all-star, borderline all-star thing. Take that next step and take a team and really carry a team and then prove to me like that, right?
Yeah, true.
All right, last NBA topic I want to talk about is Fred VanVleet went on JJ Redick's podcast and said
Yeah.
he won his championship already. He wants to get paid. Do you like guys talking about that in the media saying, I don't care. I won my title already. I want to make money now.
I mean, did he say it like that, or we just?
I think the quote. The quote pretty much said is, "I already won I want to get paid. I already won my title. For me, it's something I got. I want to get paid."
Okay, let's just think about it from a perspective from Fred Van Vliet's perspective. He's somewhat of like a 6-man slash role player, we would say, on a good team. Or are you saying he's starting point guard for a
I
team?
think for me, I think he's the next in line to take over the Raptors starting point guard position. Right? I don't think it'd be
Can you build a team around Fred Van Vliet?
no.
Okay. So Fred Van Vliet, probably a smart human being that he is, realizes I won a championship in Toronto. He has a deal with Rules for life, I think, where he's got money. And Canada, I guess, I don't think he probably wants to stay in Canada anymore, even though I think he should because there's more
But why though?
opportunities.
Like I see. Well, okay. To continue on.
There's more opportunities in Canada for a player to be like here, but I guess they just don't like being taxed. That's one of the biggest things, right? And they don't probably like the cold. So I'm thinking Fred Van Vliet's perspective, he's not a superstar. I mean, he probably can get to a star level, but he's not a superstar. He's won his championship, first championship in Canada. That's a big meaning to him. He's done it, and he's a role player, and now he just wants to get the bag. I don't have a problem with this because we're not going to look at Fred Van Vliet 10, 15 years down the road being like, yo, he was this and this and this, because he's not on that level where it's like a LeBron James or these superstars that are trying to
Oh,
get
for sure.
championships, right? So those players, regardless, get their money and they get the championship. Fred Van Vliet can't go to the Lakers and be like, oh, I want to get another chip. I take a discount. It doesn't work the same way. I understand where he's coming from, and that's my take on it.
So yeah, exactly. My same take is this. Like, you're right, absolutely right. Like Fred VanVleet was undrafted, played in the G League, worked his way up from the Raptors depth from being a guy that did not play, worked his way up to the sixth man.
Legit came from
So
nothing.
he legit came from nothing. He worked
Yeah.
his whole way up to become the sixth man. He was in the sixth man of the year contention the last 2 years. Probably should have won it one
Yeah,
year.
should have won
right?
it. Yeah.
He should have won at least. Not this year, the year before, right? He's really cemented himself as a true, six man scoring, potentially starting point guard in this league,
Yeah.
right? With that being said, though, you're absolutely right. Like he wants to get that contract where he can set up his family for future success, right?
Yeah.
He's
Facts,
not
yeah.
gonna take a discount from the Raptors or any team, right? And although I think some of it's smart on his point where he's telling everybody that look, I want to get paid. So if the Raptors want to re-sign him, they're gonna be, take a discount. He's already put out there that I'm not taking a discount, right? I want to get paid. If you want me, you got to compete with everybody else to keep me, right?
Yeah.
Now, I absolutely agree. Where of course these stars come, they get automatic max deals, max. Not even got to negotiate numbers or anything like that,
Yeah.
right? For a guy like Fred, if you can get yourself, for example, if the Raptors offer you 20 million, right? But the Knicks or the Detroit or Charlotte or somebody's offering you 25
30,
million.
40. Yeah. I think he's 30, 40 from those teams, to be honest.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I think how it works is the max you can get is up to I think maybe 30 million, right? Now, if a
Yeah.
team offers you that much money and it's a $10 million disparity, by
Yeah.
all means, man, you're stupid if you don't take that, right? You won
Yeah.
your title. You proved to everybody you're an integral part of the championship team, right?
Yeah.
Get your money, get that bag, right? Whereas, like you said, for star players, you're gonna get the bag regardless, right? With endorsement deals and stuff like that, and you're gonna get a max deal regardless, right?
Yeah.
For those superstar players, it's more about building your legacy, building yourself like that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas for guys that come from nothing like Fred VanVleet, for role players or not that superstar level player, it's about maximizing your profit for when you're in the league, right? You're not gonna play for 20, 25 years, right? You're gonna be playing for 10, maybe 15 years if you're lucky, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even less than that, right?
Yeah.
barring any injuries, right? You want to make sure you're set up for success, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I have absolutely zero problem with a guy like Fred VanVleet saying, "Look, I want to," because we all know it at the end of the day. What do you play this game for? You play to win, of course. We also play to make money, right? You know how hard it is to be a professional athlete?
Yeah.
If I was a professional athlete, to be honest with you, if I was a professional athlete, of course I want to win a title, but I'd want to get the bag. I mean, that title is cool and everything, right? But I want the bag, bro.
Yeah.
I worked my whole ass and my whole life to get to this point,
Yeah.
and somebody's giving me hundreds of $1 millions to play a game that I love, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
getting a championship is awesome, but getting that bag is setting my family up for future financial success. It's
No
without a
doubt.
question, right?
Yeah. Give me that pen
Um,
on line right now if you give me extra 10 mil, right?
exactly, right. I don't even care if I have to play if you're telling me I have to play in like Charlotte, but I get paid like $100 million over 4 years. Fuck, I
Yeah.
can buy a house anywhere in the world and live there
Yeah.
after, right?
I'll
So
just
I
buy a
mean,
chip.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like that. But the one thing you did mention though about playing in Canada, and I really love this topic, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think like guys don't like playing in Canada? Like these American guys, like I'm in
I
Toronto
mean,
right now, right?
yeah.
Literally, there's everything here, bro. Like from Vancouver too. Like there's everything. I don't understand what because you like because I guess you get taxed more, which is the big thing, right?
Yeah.
But you're making like I don't understand like why people don't want to play in
I
this
I'll
country.
ask you another question.
All right,
So
ask me.
think Justin Pooney has just been selected by the Toronto Raptors with whatever pick you want to be. We'll just shoot
Number
you the
one,
number one pick, baby.
Adam.
All right. So you're in Canada, so you got your contract for 2-3 years, and then you're up, and you just been balling, like you're balling. And then the New York Knicks come to you, the LA Lakers come to you, and you have all these other teams that want you. And the Raptors thing is, hey, Justin, you know you're Canadian. You have the roots. You were born here, or we need you here. You'll be the perfect. Long term, you'll get anything you ever want in Canada. And then the Lakers come, they're like, yo, Justin, look at our foundation. You see the banners up there? You could be one of those. And we have LA. You know what LA is? The land of opportunities.
The land of opportunity.
I know you're in Canada. I know you've been your entire life in Canada.
But here's the
But the
thing,
LA
man. Like,
vibe is different.
okay, if the Miami Heat called me and offered me a max deal, I would really consider it because there's no state income tax in Florida, and
Bro,
that's more money in my pocket.
sunshine every day.
Plus I can live in Florida, right? But with that being said, though, I mean, if I'm the biggest athlete in Canada, right? Because think about it, if look at Kawhi Leonard, bro, or look at Giannis, right? If you
Yeah.
come to Toronto, bro, you're not the biggest athlete in just a city, bro. You're the biggest athlete in a fucking country,
Facts.
right? And for the money I lose by getting taxed, I might make that up with endorsement deals,
Yeah.
right? Like you think about it, right? You're telling me if Kawhi Leonard hadn't stayed in Toronto, right? Think about how many kids bought those New Balance, all those not New Balance gear. I owned the New Balance. I bought New Balance gear because of Kawhi Leonard, right?
Yeah.
You think about a guy like Giannis, right, or any player, right? You're telling me I have a whole country, a whole land of opportunity of
Yeah.
getting all these endorsements, becoming the biggest thing in Canada, right?
Yeah.
That's really hard to turn down, dude. For me, like
It is, yeah.
regardless of me being Canadian or whatnot, right?
But we're both biased because we're both Canadian. So
I understand that completely,
yeah.
right? And I guess like it's hard to say because like you said, like for hockey it's totally different because there's Canadian hockey players a dime a
Yeah.
dozen, right?
Yeah.
But for the NBA, right, you look at it like yeah, DeRozan stayed, Lowry stayed, but Bosch left, Vince Carter left, Vancouver Grizzlies left, Kawhi left, but
Literally. Yeah.
like I mean, like if you think about it, like I don't know, man, like something about being the biggest athlete in a country
Should mean
just
more than
it just sticks in my head, like yeah, I'd be the biggest athlete that because if you go play in LA, bro, you're not gonna be bigger than Hollywood. You're not gonna be bigger
probably
than
not.
you're
Yeah.
not gonna be the biggest thing there, right? Unless
Yeah.
you're LeBron James, right?
Yeah. Facts. Yeah.
Right? If you go to New York, you're not gonna be bigger than like the Yankees or certain things like that, right? You could be, right? But probably not, right? If I had a whole country behind me like that, man, like that's just something that's just like shit, like how do I turn that down, man? Like that is a hard thing to do, right?
Yeah.
But
Very.
it like you did say, man, like the tax thing, the money thing, it's pretty big factor, man. Like if you mean like I gotta get taxed more than what my other counterparts are getting taxed, right? It's a pretty big thing, man. Like, and for me, like being a capitalist that I am involved with money, like it does make sense at the end of the day where you're like, you know what, like maybe I do go to the States.
Yeah, facts. I mean, I always thought about this question when I was younger, and I'm like, I'm gonna be an NBA player, and then all these teams are probably gonna come up to me with these negotiations, and then I'll have an
Great
agent,
pitches.
right? And I always said I would always want to play for Toronto. It's like Vancouver ever got a team, I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Like that's the team I'd play for.
Mm-hmm.
But when money, when you see the thing is like this, where I was watching a podcast, it's a NFL players hosted, and he's like, when you look at the check for the first time, and all you've ever made in your life is just like the average, whatever you make, and you see that paycheck for the first time, and it's like either $1 million or it's like the 100Ks, and you're like, God damn, right? And then for me, it's like if I'm in LA, okay, the Lakers sign me. I'm in this tradition now. Plus, I'm in LA. The thing is, I think that's very underestimated. Is we our Canadian culture or whatever it is tailored more towards hockey. At the end of the day,
We're
as
very
big as
loyal.
basketball is in Canada, it's still bigger in LA than it will ever be in Canada. That's just facts.
That is, that is true. Like as big as basketball is getting in Canada, right? And it's getting really big now. Like a lot of kids are trying to play basketball over hockey now. A lot of people, of course, the Raptors following, winning the
Yeah.
challenge game, but it will never be as big as hockey.
Yeah. So
Ever.
at the end of the
As
day,
much as we would love to see basketball become the number one sport in Canada, and we're producing great players and all of that,
yeah,
it will never happen. Basketball will never surpass hockey
ever.
whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, I will
Right?
never say ever just because I hope it will, but it probably won't.
It never will. It never will.
Yeah.
I
So
will put a guarantee. It will never.
yeah. So
Never.
like, just say I'm vibing in the streets of LA, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's whoever it is." Like he plays for the Lakers, and I got people just balling on like Venice Beach and stuff. Because ball in like those like the major states in this the United States obviously is different. It's totally different. It's like how hockey is in Vancouver, Toronto. It's just a different type of vibe because
It's a
the entire
religion, bro. It's a
it's a
religion, man.
religion. Yeah. And for those cities, basketball is a religion where you're just a
Huh?
hooper and you're just in that community. And the culture in like this LA is just totally different than it will be in Toronto, right? It's just it is what it is.
That's like anywhere though, man. Like you go to like the culture in New York, you go to the culture in Toronto. I mean, they're all big cities regardless of it, right?
Yeah.
All like the lifestyle wise, you're gonna have that comfortable rich boy lifestyle wherever you go in the world, right?
Yeah.
Unless you go to Milwaukee, where absolutely there's nothing in Milwaukee except snow and cheese. And I would, unless your name was Aaron Rodgers, I don't know
Or
why you would
Giannis.
stay in Wisconsin
Yeah.
whatsoever. Now we don't know about Giannis yet. He could be on his way out.
I mean, you can say the same thing about Toronto then.
But Toronto, the thing was, Toronto's got the biggest city in Canada. You got everything here,
Yeah.
right?
But does it still equal to LA in your opinion?
Well, no, LA's got the beach. I don't even think Toronto equal. I don't even think Toronto's equal to Vancouver, bro. I think Vancouver's better than Toronto. You're
Let's see.
asking the wrong guy.
So basically, it is what you like and preferences.
It's
And
what
most
you
basketball
prefer,
players
right?
come from, you
The
ball
hood.
outside and just call in the sun, bro. Like
New York guys don't because it's New
yeah, but
York.
there's different breeds, but like it's
Yeah.
just a different culture. I mean, I would love to be in a culture where all we talk about is basketball 247. I go out on the streets, I'm hooping, I can go talk to a guy that's talking about basketball and knows his stuff. Whereas in Canada, it's just like go Canucks, go Toronto
Or
Maple Leafs, and then
yeah, like
we
it's
Raptors. We won a championship last year, but I don't know half the
yeah,
players.
yeah. Well, I mean, like you know what I mean. Like it takes time, man. Like it's gonna take a lot of time
Yeah,
for
obviously, yeah,
basketball to even. I think basketball. I think it's bigger than baseball in Canada, right? I don't know if it's bigger than the NFL yet.
yeah,
There's a lot of NFL fans here in Canada, right?
yeah.
But like I said, like it's interesting. It's an interesting topic. Why these professional athletes don't want to play in Canada, especially in the NBA, right? Even in baseball too. Like the Blue Jays don't really sign big name free agents, right?
Yeah.
Because unless they're their own, like they brought them up and stuff, but they don't sign like the Yankees or like the Red Sox sign these big name free agents because, like you said, like
You
do these
can't
guys really
compete with
want?
those teams. It's just different.
The,
It's
the
just
funny
like
thing is, though, the funny thing is the Blue Jays are owned by what like Rogers, man, and Rogers are like one of the biggest, multi-billion-dollar company, right? They have the
yeah,
money to spend, but just nobody wants to play in Toronto or Canada because, like you said, the tax or the lifestyle. Would
Again,
you rather want
I'll
to?
ask you: Are you signing with the Blue Jays? If you're, let's just say, you're just one of the top players in MLB players, are you signing with the Yankees or the Boston Red Sox?
I mean, baseball is a little bit different though, bro. Like baseball, you get like $300 million a year just to like.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But you got a
mean,
country behind you, right? You're Canadian. You got that country behind
okay,
you.
okay. If you're asking me, bro, I'm gonna stay in Canada, bro. I'm gonna
Yeah.
stay in Canada unless like Miami or like a state
The
with no
Miami
stadium.
Marlins.
I don't. I'm like, if I could live, even like if the Dallas Mavericks wanted me to sign, I'd probably sign with the Dallas Mavericks over the Los Angeles Lakers.
Hmm, facts.
Simply
Yes.
simply because it's still decent weather in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
There's no state
Yeah.
income. The biggest thing is
Texas,
no
baby. Yeah.
biggest thing is no state income tax, bro. I get all that money in my pocket, right?
True. Yeah.
But as we are talking about football and all this other expansive stuff, sorry, basketball. Let's talk about football.
Yes, sir.
Your Dallas Cowboys
Oh.
almost shocked the world and beat the
Yes.
undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers
Yes.
behind their quarterback, who I forget his name. I think his name was something Gilbert,
Yeah.
right?
Gilbert something.
I forget his name, but it's
Yeah.
something Gilbert, right?
Yeah.
Are these Steelers the clear-cut Super Bowl favorite now, sitting at what are they 8-0 now?
Yes, they are.
They're 8-0. Are they the clear-cut Super Bowl favorite? Like,
I watched that game because I was like, I had a feeling because I know my Dallas Cowboy tendencies. Oh, it's the game at Jerry World. This Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated. I'm like, yo, they're gonna try to bring it this game and maybe even beat them. But I knew deep down inside, it's gonna come a time where we that one play where it's gonna be like, ah, oh, god damn, Cowboys can't beat the Cowboys. They always beat themselves. It is what it is. So I'm watching that game and I'm like, Steelers. And I had James Conner playing on my fantasy team. The dude dropped like 2 points. I don't know what happened to him because the Dallas Cowboys could have gave up 300 rushing yards to us if we played in the backfield. That's how bad their defense has been. So I'm watching that game and I'm like, okay, the Steelers are struggling. Why is this happening? Like I've seen the Dallas Cowboys for the last 7 weeks. Why is all of a sudden they're struggling against the Dallas Cowboys? This is what I think happened to the Steelers. Juju was saying that we're going to be undefeated going into the game, apparently. So that's kind of cool. And then he scored a touchdown, I think, or I believe something happened with the Cowboys where
yeah, he was trying to
celebrating
he
and
was trying to go to the terrible inside of the field. Then he kind of
yeah,
stopped into the 40 instead because he didn't want to
yeah,
get clocked.
yeah. So I guess that was kind of funny. And I guess the Cowboys got up for the game because like, yo, we really haven't been playing well this season. If we could spoil the Steelers' undefeated season, let's get up for this game. And then eventually the Steelers were like, you know what? Let's flip the switch on. Let's win this game, and that was the end of that.
I think what happened was the Steelers underestimated the Cowboys. Like you said,
Yeah,
Juju, they were going to
obviously.
be under. They didn't care, bro. Cowboys have been tire fire, dumpster fire all year,
Yeah,
and then the Cowboys came out playing their best and just kind of put a little, oh, whoa, we got to like take a step. Oh, like let's pick this shit up, right?
yeah.
So I mean, I think the Steelers, as the clear-cut Super Bowl favorite, I don't think they're the
I don't
clear-cut
think
Super
so
Bowl
either.
favorite.
Yeah.
Dude, I think Kansas City right now, man. Kansas City's having like a low key, like really, really good year, bro. Mahomes is playing really, really well. Um, I think Kansas City's scaring me, dude. Like I think Mahomes, I thought Russell Wilson was running with the MVP, but two of the last 3 games, bro, he's been kind of a little bit shaky, right?
Yeah.
Because he's got to play perfect. With the Seahawks, like Russell Wilson has to play perfect for them to win, right?
True. Yep.
Like the defense is horrible. Like, it's god awful. Josh Allen just flipped a switch and went
God mode.
nuts, right?
Yeah.
He looked like Patrick Mahomes out there, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, man, like I think Kansas City looks really, really nice right now, dude. Like I really think Kansas City's firing all those cylinders. Baltimore, we talked about Baltimore a little bit before we started recording, where Lamar Jackson saying other teams are calling their plays out,
Yeah.
right? So Baltimore is like they're kind of teetering, right? But
Say
I think
say you're coaching against Baltimore just quickly. All
stack the
you know,
box,
like it's just like I mean their offense is just so
predictable.
predictable at this
You
point.
stack the box, put a spy on Lamar. That's
You're
it.
chilling. Game over.
Who are you gonna throw it to? Willie Snead, right?
Willie Snead,
Like
low key,
no
like
disrespect to
yeah, yeah.
Willie Snead,
Our boy
but
Des Bryant, man.
Dez Bryant, man, he's getting the red zone, trying to lob in it to Dez. I'm
That's
telling
it.
you right now,
Yeah,
it might actually work
yeah,
a
it
couple
will.
times, right?
Yeah,
But like I said, like Super Bowl favorite so far this year, we're halfway through the season right now, right?
yeah.
I think, dude, Kansas City is my number one favorite right now. Kansas City looks really good.
I guess you can't really pick against the Super Bowl
You
champs.
can't, right? But as you think about a couple of weeks ago, they kind of weren't really in the discussion, right? I was like, oh, Seattle, Baltimore, I don't know,
Tampa
Pittsburgh,
Bay,
Tampa Bay, right?
the Saints.
The Saints, after the Saints put that beating on Tampa, man, you got to kind of
Yeah.
put them in that conversation again, right? Where
Low
like
key, a
Saints have
lot of
won,
Saints fans, yeah. Like
like
just out of
Saints, but
nowhere.
Saints have won 5 in a row now. Like the
Yeah,
Saints are
yeah,
on a nice roll right now too, right? They got
yeah,
Michael Thomas back, right? So I
yeah,
mean, I definitely think like the NFL's kind of like there's so many, especially the NFC, dude. There's like every week there's a different team. There's Green Bay, Seattle, New Orleans,
yeah,
Tampa, yeah, whoever you want to throw in there, man. Like
yeah.
it's definitely going to be interesting. Whereas in the AFC, you kind of see like yes, Pittsburgh's undefeated, right? But to me, you just got Kansas City's there, dude. Like they're
Yeah.
there, right?
Low key, Chicago's been pretty good too with Nick Foles
I
as
think they're
their.
kind of coming back down to earth now. Where
I will never bet against Nick Foles, to be honest. I've seen too many
never
times.
bet against Nick Foles when he's playing against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Every other time, bet against him. I mean, like for example, like what was I gonna say? Like in the NFC, like there's so many different obstacles, and I was listening up the playoff teams right now. Like you have New Orleans, Tampa,
Tampa,
Seattle,
Green Bay,
Rams, Green Bay, Arizona, and I'm missing
Arizona,
one.
just like
Who am I
Madden
missing?
right
I'm
now.
missing one. Two am I missing? That's six. One team I'm
Uh,
missing.
you said Seattle. You said all the
Seattle,
big teams.
LA, Arizona, New Orleans, Tampa,
NFC
Green
East,
Bay,
baby. We gotta get
Philly,
one team.
NFC least Philly.
Yeah, we gotta get one
Like
team
like
out of there,
even
baby.
Philly, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. Philly has enough talent to win a playoff game,
No shot.
right? Like they have enough talent to win a playoff game. If they play at
Do
their
not
peak
give the
performance,
Philadelphia Eagles any love. Do not do it.
hey, I'm just saying facts. The way the Philadelphia Eagles have talent, I'm saying their talent they have. Carson Wentz plays his best. Miles Sanders, and their offense plays their best, and they have Darius Slay plays good. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. If they play good, Philadelphia Eagles can win a playoff game. For
Cowboys
sure
still
they can.
winning that division.
Absolutely. As a Cowboys fan, man, you guys should just give up on the season and just try to get.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about talent. You talking about talent here?
Okay, well, Dak's out though, so I mean, like,
Yeah,
if all things are considered equal, right? Like
we're
Dak's
only
out.
one game behind the Eagles. That's how
Okay,
bad the
that's
division
not
is.
saying much, right? At all, right? The Giants
Yeah,
are one game behind the Eagles too, aren't they?
I think so. I don't know
Yes, they
though.
are. They are.
Saquon comes back, just beats to the NFC
Saquon's
least.
not. It's not. It's going to be NFC least for a while, right? But yeah, what else? What else do you want to talk about the NFL?
Oh, I had a quick. You were making the point earlier about playing down to your opponent,
Mm,
and I had a quick question. I was like, yo, a lot of us like, isn't it like human nature kind of to play down to your opponent? Like,
100%.
say you're going into a game, right? You just got these bad boys. You know how good you guys are, and then you got these like maybe just players that aren't that great. And I mean, I heard Kobe one time say this. He's like, you should never play down to your opponent. I don't care who it is, when it is. You beat that person down to the point they never want to play you again. At the end of the day, either they take it as, oh, I got destroyed by this person, I never want to play this sport again, or they take it as like, oh shit, I'm not as good as I think I am, so I have to work my ass even harder. Personally, like we play ball all the time. When I'm playing against a team that doesn't have the same talent, I just play down to their level just because I'm like, I don't want to be that one dude
I've
that's like,
seen you. I've seen you play. I've seen you play down to your talent
yeah,
level too.
yeah. So I don't want to be that guy where it's like, this guy's just sweating his ass off against these like, you know what? Like sometimes it's fine, but I guess it's your point you were making. The Steelers played down to the Cowboys level, and then they have
It's
the
human
ability
nature.
to turn it back up. But I always say there's only a few human beings that I know, or even athletes, that can be like, I'm gonna play terrible, and all of a sudden, bang, switch to switch, and you're
There's
like,
two.
oh shit.
There's two
Who do you think
that
those
come to
two are?
mind. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
There's the
because
two
they
that
just
come to
had
my mind.
different mentalities, though.
There's
Like,
just the mentalities. Those guys are just like competitive psychopaths, where they want to
yeah,
like you said, crush somebody's soul and then just dump the soul back on them and then piss on their ashes. That's how type of like most people are like, oh yeah, fuck, we're playing an easy, shitty team. We'll just take it easy and we'll still coast
yeah,
to a
yeah,
win,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Those two guys are built different, bro. Those two guys are like the type of guys that are like, we're gonna fucking
Destroy
stomp on their
you.
throat and choke them out and kill them,
Yeah, like
right?
that saying, like, don't take your foot off the gas pedal
Their foot's on the gas pedal all the time, right? Like
all the
Russell
time.
Westbrook. Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook has that same mentality, right?
Yeah.
And that's
It
what
just
people love
doesn't
him.
work to the level we wanted to, but he has the same mentality. You're
Russell
right.
Westbrook's biggest thing is he tries too hard,
Who hard? Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not 99% of people don't do that. They don't try too hard.
Hard.
They
Yeah.
try just enough to get
Enough.
by, and
Yeah.
that's it, right?
Yeah.
Or to just do enough, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're a competitive freak like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant, like we said, right? That really just into killing and just demoralizing people, right? Most people are just gonna be, you know what? I'm playing this team right here. These guys are 5'8". My team is average height is 6'7". I'm pretty sure in a game of basketball we are going to win,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they are not going to try as hard as they can, right?
Yeah.
Just like the Dallas Cowboys, right? But
Yeah.
that's what makes sports so great is on that one day where you don't bring it against that team and
Yeah.
that little team beats you.
Yeah.
Then you have the upsets, the biggest upsets in sports history that we love.
That's
right?
why I like the format in the NCAA, even in football, where it's just like a 1-out knockout. Obviously, the 7-game series.
But do you think those teams in NCAA, like those teams, really like don't get their all in those one games?
What was the question again?
Like, so for example, like if you're Kentucky and you're playing a 16th seed, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys still take them lightly?
I
Because
think
in the
you do.
NCAA, it's
'Cause you
only
have-
one game though.
Yeah.
I think the nerds have more to do in the NCAA tournament.
True, that could be it too. But I think sometimes they do, just because, like, think about it. If you're Kentucky Wildcats and you have 5-star recruits everywhere on your team, and then
NBA
you're playing,
lineup,
yeah, and then you're playing against a team that's like, like maybe like I don't even
a
know, a team like,
mid-major,
we'll just say like,
George
like,
Washington or
yeah,
something like that.
like a Div 3 team maybe.
Okay, well, Div 3 won't be in the tournament anyway. Let's keep it relative. So you're playing
yeah,
a smaller
okay.
Div 1 school.
Okay, yeah, say it like that, and then you're just like, you know what, like we got the NBA starting lineup here. Like, there's no need for us to out here be like, risk injury or anything, or trying to be like, play at our full level. And then that team could, like sometimes the game is close and you keep it close and you're like, you know what, at this point I'll turn it up. But as sometimes that team gets the confidence of like, yo, we could beat this team. And that's when things turn around for people, is when that you give that team hope and they're like, we could actually beat this team. And that dude that was picking you up from normal half court was just chilling, and you're like, I cross him up. Now he's into you, and you're like, oh shit.
You know what? That's completely true. Like I said, like that's where I think like confidence is such a key in sports, right?
Yeah.
Once you get that little glimpse of confidence, like for me in basketball, if I'm not a very good basketball player, right? If I now have improved, okay,
Yeah.
I'll give myself that I've improved. But once you start seeing, your shot go in or a layup go in, you're just like, oh fuck, like I can do it. I can score, right?
Yeah.
Then it just gives you the confidence to do more, right? Whereas on the opposite side, if you hit a bunch of shots and you start breaking it, you get demoralized. You don't want to shoot the ball. You want to pass, right?
Yeah.
That's where I'm thinking, like, in the NCAA tournament, right, where it's not so much underestimation. It's more you could lose at any game your season's done, right? And think about it for those Duke, Kentucky, UNC, those schools, right? If you don't make it to a Final Four, season's a failure, right? True. If you can lose one game, anybody can lose a game, right? And that's what goes in these players' heads. These guys are only like 18, 19 years old, right? And you have full stadiums of people, all these fans. And if you don't live up to expectations, you're going to be considered a failure, right? Yeah. Everybody like Skip Bayless, Stephen A., all these guys are going to go on TV. You know what? The Kentucky Wildcats are failures. They did not make it to the Final Four. They have John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe all on one roster, and they could not win a national title, right?
Yeah.
I think that plays more to their mind rather than lowering your, like, playing down to your team level, right? Yeah. But whereas in pro sports, right, where, you think about it, like, you think about this. Remember when Seattle was like 7-9 with the Marshall into that beast mode run?
Yeah.
And they played against New Orleans. They're the defending champs, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure New Orleans thought they had it in the bag because they were the defending champs.
Yeah.
They were going to play Seattle with 7-9, and then boom, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's considered underestimating. I think underestimating happens all the time in pro sports. Mm-hmm. You look at LeBron, right? Yeah, LeBron, people will get on him so much, right? But the one thing I'll say this about LeBron is he will never cheat the game. He will never take a night off, right? You look at some guys in the league, or you look at some professional athletes, when they're playing against a shitty team, they don't care, or load manage, right? Where I think that's the norm now, where I kind of wish in sports, like, everybody had that same mentality, but it's just not human nature to have it.
Do you think, like, just say, I'm not even talking about pro level, because most of us aren't on the pro level.
We just play on
we just play on like a pickup game,
recreation level.
Yeah. So
have fun.
so what do you want? So what, like, say we're about to all hoop and stuff. Like, for me, if like if the other team brings like their A1 game and I'm like, okay, these guys are trying to play, like, okay, I'll play like that too. But if they're playing where like I see the level isn't like where I expect it to be, again, it's just for me, it's just like I don't want to be that one dude that's up here, swatting the shit out of basketballs and just scoring on everyone, because then those guys don't want to play. And it's like, is it my fault that I'm choosing to play with them and I need to up my level, or is it acceptable for me to play down to their level just so it's like I keep it equal?
This is what I think. If you're playing at a recreation level or something like that, you're playing. I get it. You ought to have, like, for me, like, it's a problem of mine that I have because I get
Mm,
too competitive,
yeah,
right? That, like, I might increase my competitiveness to another level and it might be considered taken the wrong way,
yeah,
right? You're out there, I think, at the recreation level where not all of you guys are going to be at equal skill level, right? Like, for
yeah,
example, like yours and my level of skill at a certain sport may be a huge disparity,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
But at the end of the day, we're all out there to have fun. Now,
yeah.
having fun and being competitive can still be coexist at the same time, right?
You,
If I'm
you,
gonna
you,
play,
are you saying they can coexist at the
they
same time?
can coexist at the same time,
Okay, yeah,
right? Like, if I'm out there, I still want to win the game, right? I still want to play to win, but that
yeah,
doesn't mean that, like, I'm gonna fucking, like, hard screen you and push you into a wall, right?
yeah,
Now, that's the heat of the game. It might happen. It shouldn't
yeah,
happen, but it
yeah,
happens, right?
yeah.
I think especially in, like, the recreational level sports, you need to find that happy medium of, yes, keep it competitive, but also keep it, hey, like, we're not pro athletes, just calm down, right?
I think that's the confusion. That's the biggest confusion most
Yeah,
people have because, for example, you said you're very competitive. I would say I'm competitive, but to a level. I need to know who I'm competing against at the
you
same
need to
time.
know.
If I'm playing against all dogs, I'm like, hey, let's go. Like I'm about that. But if I'm playing against people that like are here for a good time, there's a difference because some people come to play for, like, you've heard the analogy when you're playing and you're into the game and somebody's like, yo, chill, it's just a game, and it's like.
We've heard, me and you play basketball on every Wednesdays, and we've heard that expression quite frequently. Oh, just chill, man. It's just a game, bro. It's just a
Yes.
game.
So like again, to me, I think I like kind of like psych myself out. So like here I got my boys like, yo, we gotta win the game. We're trying to win the game. I need you to be the best you want to be. And I got the guy on the other team that's guarding me, and he's like, yo, bro, just chill. It's just a game.
Please take it easy on me,
It's
right?
just a
Like,
game.
please.
I feel bad for that dude too because I know he doesn't like really match up with me. And here I say, kill him, bro. Score on him. And I'm like, oh, I
Right?
don't.
Like, it just depends on, like, also the group you're with, right? Like, sometimes, like you said, like, if you're playing with a bunch of dogs, like, bro, you're gonna get at it, bro, because that
Yeah,
their energy level brings you
yeah,
up. Like, you want to keep that same energy. Whereas, like you said, like, you're playing with guys, oh, we're just here to have fun, shoot the ball
yeah,
around, jack up a million threes. Oh, I'm just here
yeah,
to shoot the ball and stuff like that, right?
yeah,
Then you're not gonna care as much, right?
yeah,
But when you're play, but the greatest thing for me is when you play in those games, like, like, you play in those rec games where the competition level is super high. Like, you feel like you're in a professional game, right?
yeah,
Nothing beats that, in my opinion, where it's done respectfully, but it's also, you see the competition level is high,
yeah,
right? Your skill level might not be high, but
yeah, yeah.
everybody's competing, everybody's hustling,
Uh,
everybody's running. That for me is something that, like, really makes the game much more enjoyable for me, right?
yeah,
Like, for
facts.
me, like, if everybody's like, for example, if I'm playing a pickup game and I get like 2 baskets, right? But I bust my ass on defense and my team's busting their ass and we're all touching the ball and we're all moving around
Yeah,
and we're competing at high, by all means, right?
yeah,
Whereas some games where you get guys that just want to, you know what, pass me the rock, bro, I'm gonna shoot it, right? Like that, fuck that, man. Like,
yeah,
expect, like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna play the right way. Like, play
yeah,
the game the way it's meant to play,
yeah.
right?
I always say this at the end of the day, like if I'm playing against somebody that's in front of me and he realizes he doesn't have the like the skill set to be like, I don't really match up with you, but if he brings it 100% and he's really trying to guard me and he's really trying to make me work, at the end of the game, I always dab that person up because it takes a lot for you to realize what your role is. I feel like a lot of people don't know what their role is when they play sports. It's terrible. Because you can't expect yourself to be Steph Curry just because you watch him and then you're playing against
Oh,
people that,
I green release all the time in 2K. Doesn't mean you're gonna green release in real life.
yeah,
99% of the time, bro, you're gonna break that shot,
yeah. So, I mean,
right?
just like for me, it's just like, yeah. So if that person in front of me, yo, if you're playing with 100% effort and you're trying your best and you do your best, I'll dab you up. Like I respect that out of a person, yo.
And you know what? You know what? Exactly what that point is. If you're guarding me and you're much better than me in basketball and I'm not as good as you, I want you to give me your best. I don't
Yeah,
want you to take it easy on me because I want to
yeah,
I want
yeah,
to take on the best or the guy who's got a higher skill, so I get better,
Yeah,
right?
true.
That's
Yeah.
the only way you're gonna get better. You're not gonna get better in any sport you play or anything in life, right?
Life, yeah.
If you just go up against easy competition, bro, you gotta consider yourself to a higher standard, right?
Yeah.
Like, consider this. Like, back to pro sports. The Steelers, the Cowboys were a statement game for them, right? The
Yeah.
statement game was beating Baltimore, where they
Yeah.
played at a higher level than Baltimore. And Baltimore those teams were going at it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you look at on the pickup court or whatever, if you're guarding me and I'm not trying, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that you're much better than me,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not gonna try,
Yeah.
right?
True. Facts.
But
Yeah.
even if I'm not as good as you and I D
Yeah.
you up, and even though you might get by me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to make you work to get it by me, right?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Like, you can shoot over my face, cross me up,
Yeah.
but if I put in my effort into it and I give it my all,
Yeah.
right?
That's a dub for you. You won if you did that.
It doesn't matter if you scored on me, that's
Yeah.
fine. But if I gave it my all and you
Yeah.
know that,
Mm-hmm.
and you acknowledge me, like, yo, this guy actually, like, you know what, he might not be as good as me, but
Yeah.
I could see something there. I could see him trying, right? That's
Yeah.
for you. That's more confidence for that person that got beat.
Yeah.
Having a guy with higher skill will accept him, acknowledge him for
Yeah.
that, than hitting a basket, bro. In my opinion, because
Yeah.
somebody of a higher standard or higher skill level is appreciating your skill, your
Yeah.
compete level, right?
Yeah.
So
True. Facts.
that's facts, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Is there anything else that we should talk about?
I guess it's been a great podcast. I think we
I
shall
appreciate it.
call
Like you
it.
said,
Yeah.
guys, thank you for all your support. This will be up shortly. And like I said, please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all social media platforms, all audio platforms. Stay safe, stay blessed, and take care.
Peace.